times in our families call for cool, refreshing desserts. It has something to do with dehydration and the heat that summer brings. One dessert that's a sure shot success and always a part of our summer months is my key lime pie. Though a classic, though very, very difficult to create, this has versions of it which can be such a nightmare on slaving in a hot kitchen. My key lime pie is a mix of various recipes coming together, a baked pie crust to perfection, giving you the image that it's a baked creation, but at the same time with a cool cream cheese and bursting with lime filling within. Let's get to creating it. Letting you in on a secret, I always have short crust pastry lying in the refrigerator. This gets done in about 20 minutes flat, and to get this recipe, get on my basics playlist and find it there. A simple creation that can be used to the best of any ability. Flatten it out to a 6-inch disc and roll it for a 9-inch pie mold. Rolling out the dough to 3/4 centimeter thickness, just layer it into a pie mold and leave a good centimeter on the top because you want to avoid shrinkage, which is a common practice that happens when you create a short crust dough. Now with this done, it's time to crimp the edges and make it look a little fancy but keeping it very, very rustic. All you need to do is take 2 fingers and get those crimpy edges perfectly in. Crimping the dough is really very simple. 2 fingers and a 3rd finger in between gives it a perfect swirl all around the edges. And you need to dock it so that it doesn't rise. So with a fork, go as creative and as liberal as possible. Dock the bottom because when this blind bakes, it tends to rise and creates quite a uncomfortable crust. You want this to chill for a good 30 minutes, and in the meantime, I'm going to go back to irritate Zia and Zoe. Put that into chill, and then it goes bang into a preheated oven. Hey madam, what are you doing? Now with 30 minutes, the dough resting, and it has rested, and the best way to know that it's done is if you just have a touch at it and it's firm to the touch. Now comes the fun part of lining it with some parchment paper and weighing it down. This way the dough doesn't rise, and more importantly, it doesn't shrink as well. While you can use pie weights, I like to go old-fashioned with some kidney beans that I always have lying around. So a parchment paper settles into this and just pour a batch of kidney beans in it. This goes into a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes, and then we are going to take it out. Take out the weights that we put in, that's the kidney bean, and allow it to bake so that the bottom gets nice and crisp as well for another 4 to 5 minutes. With the first round of baking done and the pie weights or the kidney beans removed, this sits back in so that it gets that golden brown color for a good 5 minutes. 5 minutes of allowing this to bake without the pie weights. The crust has got that gorgeous golden brown color. All we're going to do is allow it to chill, and in the meantime, get to creating that bursting with flavor, lemony goodness of a filling. Perfectly baked, you can allow it to brown slightly more, but the beauty about pies are they should always be rustic. It gives you that perfect feel of your grandmother creating these. While we allow the pie shell to come down to room temperature, now is the fun part of creating that bursting with flavor filling. So out here I've got 350 grams of cream cheese, slightly softened, going into my stand mixer out here. every last bit of it. It's cream cheese, guys. You need every bit of it in, along with 400 grams of condensed milk. 6 ingredients create this gorgeous stuffing. With the condensed milk in goes 200 grams of some whipping cream. And you get to whisking the 3 together. This is a simpleton creation and it just needs to blend on the slowest possible speed so that everything comes together perfectly well. Four minutes of slowly whisking this, and don't be alarmed if it's too runny because this takes 5 hours to set in the refrigerator, but preferably overnight. Now comes the bursting with flavor lime. So the rind of 3 lemons going in along with that glorious juice. So just pour that in and whisk again for another minute to a minute and a half. Well emulsified, this gorgeous creation is ready. We're just going to wait for the pie shell to come down to room temperature and pour this on top. Now with the shell casing perfectly come down to room temperature and this gorgeous filling ready, all you need to do is put it in and smoothen it out. Any excess of this filling, don't be alarmed. It's always fun to have excess than have less. Any excess of this filling works perfectly well in creating a mousse just to nibble on the side. Often this works perfectly well and you do not need to put any whipped cream on top, but I managed to get my hands on some candied key limes which I've just julianated and I'm going to sprinkle them and garnish it on top. This has that burst of flavor coming through perfectly well. So just scatter all this on top and you have a decadent dessert once set. All this needs is chilling for 5 hours or preferably overnight. Pies must always be as rustic as possible just so that they give you that good feel factor. Now if you have a family like mine, leaving a pie overnight is next to impossible. 5 hours is a task in itself where I have to guard the refrigerator door so that nobody goes and tucks right in. I hope you enjoyed creating a very new age, simple yet elegant old age dessert. This dessert is bursting with flavor and once you start creating this, you will never ever go back to the tormenting task of creating the one which has to be whisked into a sabayon and put into the oven to bake. Simple flavors coming together, giving you a bit of old school charm. Don't forget to share loads of love by hitting on the like button, and as I always say, don't forget to subscribe.